Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another live stream of G.O.C.C. Fit here for the Gathering Christ Church, where we discuss all things health, fitness, and nutrition related. I am your host, your neighborhood certified personal trainer, nutritionist, and health coach, Rawchaa, here today to discuss all things copper. All things copper. All right. And we're going to do something a little different for this live stream. Usually we go through our document at the end of each of the live streams where we talk about our nutrition, and we go in, and typically there's either a vitamin or a mineral that's listed there that we discuss and kind of show the multiple references going into usually we go to Healthline. There are many different areas where you can go and learn about nutrients, right? We usually go to Healthline, and then we segue over to the vitamin and mineral requirements in human nutrition, second edition, which was put together by the WHO, World Health Organization, and the FAO. All right, but we pretty much covered all of the vitamins and minerals that are listed within that document. Okay, so we don't have that to go into. So what I'm going to do is at the end of the live stream, for those out there who may have questions, I'm going to open up a Q&A. If you have any health-related questions, and when I say health-related questions, I'm speaking about diet, exercise, any type of food supplement questions. You're looking to lose weight. I want to know some tips on losing weight, tips on maybe gaining weight or sustaining your weight, anything within that realm. Okay, if you're dealing with a more serious health issue, then that's where I would have to refer you to a doctor, right? I'm not a physician or a doctor. I'm a certified personal trainer, nutritionist, and health coach. So I deal with things more on the diet side of health, the exercise side of health, and anything related within the spectrum of food supplementation, things that you can buy over the counter that comes from food, like your vitamins, like your minerals, things like that. So if you have any questions when it comes to any of those things, I'm going to give the guest caller number. Let me pull it up here for you all to have it. And you can feel free to call in with your questions and answers. Okay. The guest caller number is 515-605-9327. 515-605-9327. I'm going to put that here in our live chat. Press 1 if you have a question or you would like to speak. Okay, you can call in, you can press 1. We're going to go about an hour, and then I'll do about 30 minutes of Q&A at the end for anybody that has any questions in relation to health. All right. And as we go through the information for this live stream, toward the end, I will give a reminder out there so the call lines can already be going for those that may want to call in. And if nobody has any questions, then I'll just conclude the stream at that time. I didn't realize we were at the end of the nutrients for that particular document, but we have come to the end of that. As you know, we're covering pretty much the major minerals for the most part. We've gone through some of the most important ones. You have some that are maybe not looked at as quite as essential that are out there. And so, as we wrap up on the mineral side of health, we'll be segueing over to some new things when it comes to health that maybe not necessarily specifically going through each vitamin or mineral. We've covered that. Then we'll be going on to the next thing that we can focus on Just, so we all can have a good understanding of when it comes to health, the fundamentals, the foundation of health. If you don't have these fundamentals and these foundations, then when you're going to the doctor or you're going to seek some type of medical care, then you're gonna not see the results that you would like to see or that you would want if your diet, your health, exercise, and things like these aren't in place first and foremost. Okay. So let me go ahead and again, our content tonight, all things copper. All things copper. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our first reference tonight for this live stream. Of course, we like to use Healthline. They do a good job of keeping it very easy to understand with a lot of information. So let me pull it up here so you all can see it. So we have here on Healthline the link between copper and nutrition. All right, the link between copper and nutrition. And it reads, while other heavy metals aren't good for you, getting copper in trace amounts is essential. Too much or too little can cause health problems. Okay, what is copper? Copper is a mineral found throughout your body. It's a nutrient that your body needs in small amounts to function properly. Read on to learn more. So what does copper do? Okay, what are some of the things that copper does when it comes to our health, and the reason why it's an important mineral and nutrient? Copper has an important role in a number of functions, including the production of red blood cells. Okay, so we definitely want to have our blood cells being produced in our body. All right, we don't have that happening and going on, then we're not going to live very long. We're going to be sick. Okay, because our cells die. They get sick, they die. And so now copper helps with producing more. What else does copper do? It regulates heart rate and blood pressure. Okay, so copper also good for those who maybe have an irregular heart rate. Maybe you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, so it's going to help stabilize those things. Absorption of iron, very important. I know a lot of people out there maybe dealing with anemia or iron deficiencies and things like that. Well, you might need to check your copper. If your copper is low and you're not getting enough copper in your diet, you're going to have issues with iron absorption. Prevention of prostatitis or inflammation of the prostate. So I know prostate is a big thing within the Black community, especially for men, the health there. Again, if you're not getting the copper, then you're going to potentially run into issues with your prostate. What else do we have? Development and maintenance of bone, connective tissue, and organs like the brain and heart. So anytime you see where a mineral has a big job when it comes to our brain and our hearts, you have to take very, very, a very big notice to that particular nutrient, brain and heart, as well as other organs, bone health, very important. Our bones are our infrastructure of our body. Okay, what keep us held together, able to stand, walk, sit, all those type of things. And activation of the immune system, another big thing when you're talking about health. You're looking at the nutrients, or in this case, minerals that are very big for our immune system. So just based upon what we've seen so far, blood cells, okay, heart and blood pressure, as well as brain, to be able to absorb iron. Iron may be one of the most important minerals that we have to have. You have doctors out there like Dr. Sebi that says iron is magnetic, meaning that it is basically the centerpiece of all minerals that is able to draw and pull other minerals in. Without the iron, those other minerals almost can't do what they need to do. Okay. I'm just highlighting the main things. Prostate is big too, but you also have immune system here. So based upon that, we can say, okay, yeah, I need to make sure I'm getting copper in my diet. And we'll discuss here in a moment, how do we make sure we're getting enough copper? Also, another thing that's not listed here, not only about the absorption of iron, but also the absorption of zinc. So I know a lot of people out there supplement with zinc. So if your zinc supplement doesn't have copper in it, then you're going to have to look to take copper, also as far as supplementation to help, because iron is going to affect your copper. Zinc is going to affect your copper. Also something else, vitamin C. A lot of people out there take a lot of vitamin C. You're going to have to make sure you're getting copper, because all three of those things will affect your copper. All right. So you're going to have to get more copper in your diet or through supplementation to help, balance that out and to stabilize that fact. Okay. So let's move on here. What are the benefits of copper? Possible benefits. Copper is a vital component for your body, but you need just the right amount. Copper supplements may improve some health conditions, though these are usually associated with a copper deficiency. For example, a 2015 study found that postmenopausal women with low bone density have very low levels of copper and other minerals in their blood. Again, it affects the bones. The study recommended copper supplements as a potential treatment to help improve bone density. Some experts have also suggested that copper supplements may improve heart failure, but findings are mixed, with a 2014 study indicating that a supplement containing copper didn't benefit people with heart failure. Okay, so there's mixed results because everyone's different. So it doesn't mean that it does or doesn't help somebody who has heart issues, but because, depending on a person's diet, what else they're eating, their sleeping, stress levels, all those matter, their blood type, and whether or not, you could get a mixed study to be able to determine whether or not it is a benefit. But I would definitely say through my study of copper that is very important. And it is one of those minerals that you want to make sure that you are focused in on for your diet. Other studies have also linked higher copper intake to mortality from cardiovascular disease. Overall, more research should be done to assess any benefits of copper in this area. Copper's role in Alzheimer's disease is similarly unclear. According to research from 2017, some studies associate Alzheimer's disease with copper deficiency and recommend increasing copper levels, while others link the disease to overly high levels of copper. Additional research is needed to explain the potential benefits of copper supplements for different health conditions. So typically what I like to tell people is that if you're going to supplement, start with the low dose, right? Typically, most supplements will tell you how much percentage FDA is in each capsule. If you're taking capsules, for instance, and you just you start with a small amount and just add a little bit to your daily intake, or maybe you take it every other day. That way, you don't run the risk of getting too much, but yet you're still getting it in your body. All right. And then again, if you're eating eating the foods that we're going to go into in a moment that are high in copper or other minerals and nutrients, and you don't have to, be as concerned with having to supplement as much. However, the downside to that is that our environment now has become so toxic and so depleted that a lot of these minerals, nutrients, you're not going to really find in the food where we would usually typically find it, especially if you're getting it at the store. Now, if you're growing it yourself, you're on your own land, you're dealing with the land the right way, you're growing gardens and things like that, then you may have a higher chance of having a lot of these nutrients in the foods you grow. All right, let's keep going here. We have copper and cancer. Copper's role in cancer is complex and is still being studied. According to research from 2015, high concentrations of copper in the blood are linked to several kinds of cancer, including breast and lung cancer. The article also noted that copper may play a role in the development of tumors and that some types of cancer cells have elevated copper levels. As a result, many current studies focus on copper chelation therapy. Chelation meaning detox, the ability to take something that's going to actually bind to that particular thing, in this case copper, to pull it out the body. All right. It says here, copper chelators bind the copper ions to reduce their activity, remove them from cells, or transport them between cells. Research from 2018 suggests that copper chelation may be effective when combined with other cancer treatments. Copper may also be used to kill cancer cells more directly. So the same way too much copper can cause cancer, the right amount has shown to possibly be able to kill cancer or kill disease. So when you're getting the proper amounts of nutrients in your body, then it can kill or keep disease at bay. A 2019 study indicated that treatment with copper nanoparticles delayed the growth of pancreatic tumors in mice. Another study from 2014 found that copper compounds cause the death of colon cancer cells and test tubes. Overall, more studies are needed to explore copper's role in cancer. Okay, we have here copper bracelets. Some of you out there may be familiar with copper bracelets. Maybe you have some copper bracelets. It says here, magnetic therapy bracelets are sometimes promoted as wearable treatment for arthritic pain. British scientists put copper bracelets to the test in a placebo-controlled trial. The results published in the journal PLOS1 found that the bracelets offered little or no therapeutic benefit. Furthermore, several study participants experienced skin irritation from the bracelets. So what you have here is you have some people who have, through their own personal experience, have used copper bracelets and have found them to be of great benefit, right? For whatever the purpose is, helping with blood circulation, helping with arthritis. Then you have others, maybe they didn't have the same result. Okay. They didn't either feel like it helped them at all. Some people can be allergic or have some type of allergy to where now you have skin irritation from the copper. Okay. But this is kind of the reason that, when you look at jewelry in ancient times, more so than now, gold, silver, copper, all these were jewelry. These weren't just worn for aesthetic purposes or the bling. Oftentimes these metals would be worn because of the understanding that these metals are actually healing. So by you wearing the jewelry around your body and it touching your skin, those ions, those very small parts of that metal now are coming into your body and able to provide benefit. We're going to talk more about copper ions here later. Okay. And so there is definitely, scientific proof that, these metals definitely are healing, have healing agents that work, that come from having these metals. However, it is still a metal. So at the same time, a person has to be mindful that too much of it, and it can cause toxicity. Heavy metal toxicity in the body. Okay. But typically when you're talking about toxicity, you're talking about someone who's not paying attention and they're just really doing too much. That's usually when that happens, right? You don't really ever hear anybody that's just daily supplementing with a normal or a low dose having these problems. Where do you get copper? Because your body needs so little copper, it may seem that you get enough through your diet. But according to research from 2018, at least one quarter of, and possibly much more of the U.S. population doesn't eat the daily average requirement of copper. As a result, the study notes that the risk of copper deficiency may be common. So they're saying at least 25% of the U.S. population isn't getting enough copper, and possibly more. So we don't know how many people aren't getting enough copper, which again shows that even though you don't necessarily need a lot of copper, but even though you don't need a lot, that just goes to show you how depleted our environment is of this metal and this nutrient, to where you can't get it in nature through diet, right, the way that you would need it for your health. And so now you're in a deficiency. So typically, you would have, your doc maybe do some blood work, check to see, what levels of these particular minerals and nutrients are in your body to determine, okay, you're getting enough or you're not getting enough. They can make a determination on these things. Okay. And you can also look at, the foods that are listed. And if you're not eating any of the foods, then it is a good chance that you could be deficient if you're not supplementing. So there are symptoms that come from not getting enough copper, which also may be an indicator that you're not getting enough. So now we're going to go into, okay, where do we get copper in nature? Like if we were to go into nature and I want to be able to consume copper, have it in my diet, okay, what foods am I going to focus in on that are going to be high in this mineral? So I know whether or not, if I'm eating these foods, then it's a good chance that my copper copper uptake is sufficient. And if I'm not, then, well, I'm probably, if I'm not supplementing, I'm probably copper deficient. So what foods do we have here that are rich in copper? It says here, one easy way to make sure you're getting enough copper is to eat foods that contain it. You can find copper in shellfish and organ meats like liver. So I want to just make a comment here real quick. Of course, we follow the Bible here. So shellfish is unclean. All right, it's forbidden, according to Leviticus chapter 11, not to eat anything out of the sea that does not have fins or scales. So when you see any type of shellfish or what they would call, the Bible calls unclean out of the ocean or waters, understand that, we're not telling people to eat that. We're just showing you that in nature, this is where it's typically found. And typically when you look at things like the sea is where you're going to find a lot of minerals. So if you're dealing with mineral deficiencies, then you want to get things out to sea. Sea vegetables, fish with scales and fins. That's where you're going to get a lot of these vitamins and minerals from that you probably would not get on land. All right, the next thing I want to deal with are the organ meats. Okay, so I dealt with a phone call this week. Somebody asking about, is it lawful to eat liver? And I've spoke about this before. And I may, we may go into some studies on this, but there's nowhere in the Bible that says that you're not to eat liver or any of the other organs. Typically what you would see in the Old Testament when they would sacrifice, they would typically they would put the organs up on the altar to be received as a burnt sacrifice. The fat, they would trim the fat off, all the things that we would think of as, don't eat that. They would burn that, typically what you would see. Doesn't mean people weren't eating it. I'm just saying that that's what you would typically see. But the Bible also tells us that even though all things are lawful, not all things are expedient. So what we have to understand is that the liver, as well as other organs, are the detoxing mechanisms of the body. So that's where you're going to find a lot of toxins. The liver can be very toxic. And when I say toxic, let's say, for instance, the liver of a cow. That cow's been eating in an area where there's mercury. And now that mercury is now sitting in that cow's liver. You slaughter that cow and then you eat the liver. Now all that mercury that was in that liver of that cow, now you've taken into your body. The thing about heavy metals is that you cannot cook them out, for the most part, out of food. It's not like a parasite that can be cooked and killed through the heating process. Heavy metals are heavy metals. They're there. And the only way to get the heavy metal out is to do a detox. Okay. So there's no way to get that mercury out of that liver of that cow. And when you eat it, then that mercury is dispersed within your body. And now it's in your body. And now you have to get it out of your body. Okay. So that's why I say, I don't deal with organs. There are other ways to get access to our nutrients than to deal with the organs. It's not unlawful, but when we look at the science and the fact that organs are the detoxifiers of the body and they filter stuff out of the body, is it the wisest thing to eat them? That's what we have to keep in mind. So that's what I would leave that at. Okay. And, so we may go into some studies and show, different animals and, they say be careful eating too much fish because it can have mercury. So if you're eating fish fillet and the fish fillet has mercury, then think how much mercury the fish's liver has. A lot of people deal with cod liver oil. Well, if you don't know where that cod liver is being sourced from, all right, and that cod is in a high metal environment, then now that liver is going to be even higher in those heavy metals. And now, you might be getting the benefits of the oil from the liver, but then you're getting all the other things that are bad too. Okay, so just putting it out there so that people understand when it comes to, dealing with things where it may be a little bit of gray area, a little unclear or uncertainty. Okay, so where are some other areas where we can get copper? It says here, you can also get a good amount of copper by eating vegetables, grains, and seeds like potatoes, peas, beans, green vegetables, whole grains, sunflower seeds. Peanut butter and dark chocolate also contain copper. Okay, so this is where you would go in nature to get your copper. Now, again, always keep in mind, these particular food items will only have the copper that they can pull from the soil. So if there's no copper in the soil, there's not going to be copper in these foods. Okay. When you might need copper supplements. So this is something that they have come up when you might need to look into supplementation. According to research in the Annals of Hematology, people with sufficient levels of iron can still be anemic. If blood test results show that you're not getting enough copper, your doctor may recommend that you take supplements. So again, you have somebody who's anemic, but they have a lot of iron in their body. What's the problem there? Well, oftentimes it means that they're not getting enough copper. All right. And then if this person is supplementing with zinc, if they're supplementing with vitamin C, they're going to even have lower amounts of copper. All right. So you could have the supplements there for iron, zinc, vitamin C, but now because the copper isn't present enough, or because now these things are dependent heavily on copper in order for them to, be able to be utilized in the body, now you're going to show signs of copper deficiency. You're going to have things that, okay, well, I'm taking, these other supplements. Why am I, still falling short in some of my health areas? Well, copper is something we have to consider here. It says copper supplements are available as pills and capsules. You can also get copper intravenously or through your veins. You shouldn't take copper supplements and zinc supplements at the same time. You should take these supplements at least 2 hours apart. So again, showing how copper and zinc have a effect one on the other. Okay. Copper deficiency. When you're not getting enough copper, what now does the body show as signs or symptoms? If you're in good health, you're not likely to have low levels of copper. Symptoms of copper deficiency may include tremors, tingling sensation, an unstable gait, numbness, fatigue, anemia, a loss of vision. Conditions that may lead to copper deficiency. Most people get enough copper from their diet, but if you have one of the following conditions, you may need supplemental copper. Okay, so even if you're getting enough copper, if you have one of these issues, you may need more. This is where your doctor comes in to make that determination. Celiac disease, cystic fibrosis, Crohn's disease. We also have Menkes syndrome. Menkes syndrome can also cause a copper deficiency. If you have Menkes syndrome, you can absorb copper from the food you eat, but your body doesn't release it into your bloodstream properly. As a result, your body doesn't get the copper it needs. Instead, copper tends to build up in the small intestine and kidney. Menkes syndrome is a rare genetic disorder. People who have it are usually diagnosed when they're babies. This condition is commonly called Menkes kinky hair syndrome because one of its characteristics is sparse, kinky hair. Okay, so these are just things that, again, everybody's different. So this is where your doctor has to come in to diagnose or help look to diagnose these things to make the determination when it comes to, in this case, copper deficiency. Risk factors for copper deficiency. The following situations can sometimes increase the risk of having a copper deficiency. Gastric bypass surgery makes some people more prone to deficiency. So this would be for those people who maybe have had gastric bypass surgery to consider whether or not their doctor has them on a copper supplement. You need to check into that. Premature babies are more likely to have a copper deficiency than full-term babies. Okay, so if you've had a premature child, you may need to look into that. Taking supplemental zinc can make it difficult for your body to absorb enough copper. So, and I think this is probably the big one that almost everybody can relate to because, you know, zinc is pushed so hard now for health, and zinc is one of the top minerals that you can take. I mean, I could tell a huge difference when I started taking zinc when it came to my health, when I started supplementing zinc. Okay, but you have to keep in mind if you're taking a lot of zinc, which means a daily supplement, then you have to make sure you're checking your copper and getting enough copper to counterbalance the fact that the zinc is going to make it hard now on copper being absorbed in the body. All right. And then that can lead you to having now the deficiency of copper. And that might be where, you know, we look into these copper bracelets that we wear, copper jewelry. And if it doesn't, you know, cause skin irritation, to wear those. That way, you know, you're wearing the jewelry and then you're possibly getting the copper through the jewelry, and you don't have to worry about if you're taking zinc, iron, vitamin C, those things that, you know, I'm wearing the jewelry, then now my copper is going to be good in my bloodstream. Copper toxicity. Just as copper is necessary for survival, too much copper can be toxic. The tolerable upper intake level for copper has been set at 10 milligrams per day. So that's the amount that you need to look at. And I don't have my copper supplement here to see how many milligrams is in it, but I don't want to speak to how, but you know, pretty much what I could tell you, you'd be taking a lot of pills per day to get to this toxic level. Okay, so it's not like you had to, oh my gosh, I took one pill today of copper and I'm going to be toxic. No, you have to take several pills every day for it to build up in your body. Okay. So it's not easy to become toxic, but if someone is just, again, they're just doing something that they had no business doing, taking so many pills of it at once, then that's where this would happen typically. Maybe if you're wearing the copper jewelry, for those who have copper jewelry, maybe you don't need to take the supplement. If you're taking the supplement and the copper jewelry, could that lead to it being too much? So these are things you have to keep in mind. Symptoms of copper toxicity include vomiting, diarrhea, jaundice, muscle pain. In severe cases, toxic levels of copper can cause liver damage, heart failure, kidney failure, and death. Okay, and that's pretty much anything. Too much of anything can cause death or a lot of these other things to happen. All right, too much salt. Eat too much salt and see what happens. Too much water and see what happens. And we all need those things to survive. A condition that can lead to copper toxicity. Wilson's disease is an inherited disorder in which the liver is unable to get rid of excess copper. So again, we see where the liver is where you're going to find heavy metals, minerals, and if for some reason that liver isn't able to get rid of it, it just stays in the liver. This is the reason why I said, is it a wise thing to eat liver of an animal, being that you don't know what life that animal lived, and if that animal had a toxic environment or had a problem getting rid of, even in this case, if let's say that liver is full of too much copper, let's not even use mercury or aluminum or any of those other things. Maybe it had too much copper. Now you're taking in all that excess copper. You see? So I would rather get a smaller amount of copper from the other things than look at something that is known to have a accumulation where it can bioaccumulate within the organ. And, now you have too much of it in your body. And, for those that out there that hunt, and you clean your kill, or you gut and butcher your kill. I've had some experience with sheep and, killing and slaughtering sheep. And, they would always show like how to cut to not hit the organs, because if you hit the organ and that organ busts and gets on the meat, now that whole lamb has become tainted and you can't eat the meat. It's poisoned from hitting that organ, to show you those organs are toxic. Okay. So, and that pretty much is what I know for all animals. Deer, that you have to gut it. You cannot hit those organs. Or that food now becomes, that meat becomes tainted now and is poisonous. It also says here, copper then builds up in organs like the brain, liver, and eyes, which causes damage over time. Wilson's disease can be life-threatening if you don't get treatment for it. Here's the takeaway. Copper has an essential role in keeping you healthy. Most people get enough copper by eating a healthy diet. Again, key word, healthy diet. If you're eating fast food, processed food, junk food, that's not a healthy diet. You're not getting enough copper. All right. And then you don't turn around and then take a copper supplement while eating that type of diet. Like, well, I'm not eating healthy, let me take supplement. Like, no, that's totally unnatural for health. Our bodies are designed to receive the minerals, the nutrients, the vitamins in nature, the way that God intended us for us to receive it. Okay, so when you're eating food that's nutritionless food, not nutrient dense, which is unnatural, and then you're going to go take a supplement for it, which is again unnatural. If you're dealing with phyto supplementation, which is plant-based supplementations, things that come from plants and things like that, then now you're at least getting it in a way from nature versus something that's been, synthetically made in the laboratory somewhere. But you want to get these things as natural as you can in nature. It says here, certain conditions like Crohn's disease or gastric bypass surgery make you more prone to copper deficiency. Not having enough copper in the body is more common than having too much copper in the body. So let me say that again. Not having enough copper in the body is more common than having too much copper in the body. Okay, so having too much is really uncommon. You don't really hear cases of people having too much copper because people aren't really focused on it as a mineral. You don't hear people say, "Oh yeah, you need to take some copper." They'll say, "Oh, you need to take some zinc," or "Oh, you need to take some iron," or "Oh, you need to take some calcium." You don't hear them talk about you need to get some copper. So because of that, our environment not having a lot of copper in it, you don't really see people having too much. You see people not getting enough. Copper toxicity can cause problems as well as including liver damage or heart and kidney failure. Be sure to get enough copper, but not too much. Talk with your doctor if you notice the symptoms of either copper deficiency or toxicity. Okay, so that's the end of this article, which off of Healthline again, the link between copper and nutrition. And I'm going to give the blog talk number again. We're going to go to the call lines for Q&A here in a moment. Again, if you have a question about health, when I say health, I'm talking about your diet, what you're eating, foods, minerals. If it's about copper, that's fine. Minerals, vitamins, food supplementation, exercise, anything in that realm, we'll take Q&A at the end of this stream. If it's anything when it comes to like serious health issues, anything along those lines, that's where you're going to have to go to your doctor to deal with that. I'll refer you to your doctor for serious health issues. Okay, so there is the call number again, 515-605-9327. And press 1, and I will take Q&A here in about 10 to 15 minutes. Right now, I don't see any callers in the queue, so if we get to the end and there's nobody with any Q&A, then I will end the stream. We have another article here off of Healthline. You all will get these references later. I'll put them in the description box below this video. We have copper deficiency. What is copper deficiency? So this just basically goes into a little more detail than what we just went through when it comes to signs, symptoms, maybe a little bit more things that we went through what we went through in the last article. Low copper levels can affect a person's immune system and energy levels. You have somebody who's always feeling cold because, again, iron is associated with somebody who is anemic or cold. But if you're not getting enough copper, your iron can't be absorbed. If you're getting too much zinc, the copper can't be absorbed to then help the iron absorption. You see, so one thing can lead to another. Easy bone breakage because copper helps with our bones. So if you're getting broken bones, if you're someone who's dealt with broken bones a lot in life, easy bruising, if you're somebody that bruises easily, all right, fatigue, you're always tired, getting sick easily or frequently, because again, copper helps with the immune system, pale skin, poor growth, skin inflammation, skin sores, unexplained muscle soreness. Okay, so all these things have their root sometimes with copper deficiency. Okay, so that's this article here. You all will get it off Healthline, copper deficiency. We also have another one here. And I see you, 432 area code. I'll take your call here in about 5 to 10 minutes. We have 8 foods that are high in copper. Okay, you can get copper from plant and animal-based foods. And we went over some of these foods. I also have a actual some images here that actually show copper-rich foods. Of course, here number 1, they have liver as the number 1 source of foods that are in copper. So, not telling somebody that you can't eat copper. That you can't eat liver, excuse me. But if that's what you want to do, that's your choice. But for me, I'll find it another way. There's too many issues dealing with the liver of an animal. Oysters, number 2, again, shellfish. We're not dealing with that. Okay, you'd be better off dealing with another fish out the ocean. Sea moss, sea vegetables. Those are going to be high in minerals because they're in the ocean where there's not a depletion issue. But you're better off dealing with clean fish from the sea. Spirulina. Talked about spirulina a lot. And I like spirulina because not only does it have a lot of minerals, again, a sea food. It is a seafood. It is a sea vegetable. A algae. A cyanobacteria. And I've also been talking a lot about bacteria here lately, how important bacteria is for our bodies. But the thing I like about spirulina is that it has a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, and it's also a chelator, meaning it has detoxification properties. It can detox and pull heavy metals out of the body. Now, make sure you're getting spirulina from a good source. If you're getting spirulina from a source that's polluted, it's going to pull that pollution out the environment the same way it would pull the bad stuff out of your body. That's what these particular foods are designed to do, is to pull stuff. Okay, so make sure it's a good sourced. And that's any food that you're eating. You want it to be good source food as much as you can control. Look into the sourcing. And it's not being obtained from a toxic environment. And that's kind of almost an oxymoron because we live in a toxic world. Our environment is very toxic, but you have some areas that are definitely night and day different than others. It says here, once consumed by the ancient Aztecs, it reemerged as a health food after NASA successfully used it as a dietary supplement for astronauts on space missions. So very similar to where sea moss got its name, Iris moss from. Iris moss, the sailors during the bubonic plague survived off of Iris moss or sea moss without any food. They were able to survive at sea strictly off of sea moss because it has all the minerals and vitamins that you need to survive. Gram for gram, spirulina is extremely nutritious. A single tablespoon, 7 grams, contains just 20 calories but packs 4 grams of protein. So it's got a lot of amino acids, which is key. You want foods that are high in aminos or protein. 25% of the daily intake for vitamin B2, riboflavin. 17% daily of vitamin B1, thiamine. And around 11% of the recommended daily for iron. It also provides 44% copper. So I recommend everybody, spirulina, also chlorella. When you mix the two together, you have a perfect food. You have you have both, all the amino acids. When you mix them together, when you take them together, you can get all the amino acids by taking both. They're detoxifying. They're going to pull stuff out of your body. They're going to give you minerals, vitamins. Okay. So, and I like to mix my spirulina and my chlorella. I have a green juice, a cold pressed green juice I buy that's all veggies and green leafy um, veggies, and I like to mix it with that to get the extra chlorophyll, the extra um, vitamins, minerals, detox properties from. Okay, so we also have should take mushrooms. Okay, big in copper, nuts and seeds, big on copper. What else? Lobsters and shellfish. We're not dealing with that. Leafy greens. Got to get your leafy greens. It has spinach, kale, Swiss chard here. I'm more of a kale guy. I tend to try to do a lot of kale. Um, so your copper there, dark chocolate. Okay, this isn't a candy bar at the grocery store. We're talking about. We're talking about, you know, the dark chocolate that that doesn't have any. It's bitter. Doesn't have anything sweet to it that you buy already in a powdered form, or um, I forget what they call the nuggets, the dark chocolate, the chocolate cocoa nibs, right? Where it's coming straight off the tree. That's what you want, because as stuff is processed, it's going to lose. It's going to lose stuff through the process. Minerals, vitamins, the heat can have an effect on different things. So you want to get it in its raw state. So the cocoa nibs are good. Okay, so not only you're talking about copper, you have fiber in dark chocolate. You have antioxidants. Okay, manganese. You haven't talked about manganese yet. And 67% of the daily for iron with a 100 gram bar, or 100 grams of cocoa nibs of chocolate, dark chocolate. All right. And, for me, what I like to do, I like to get the cocoa nibs, melt them down, and then maybe mix a little bit of agave in there to give it a little bit of sweetness. A natural sweetener, not too much, just enough to kind of give it a little sweetness. You don't want too much sugar there. And then you can now consume that. I mean, you can sprinkle those cocoa nibs on different meals if you want to mix them with meals, smoothies and stuff like that, to get them to get all the benefits. All right. So that is some of the things. I believe lemon peel. I was trying. I saw a video yesterday. I think it said lemon peel also has a lot of copper in it, but I will have to get back with you all on that one. And then the last thing here before I go to the call lines. Again, I'm going to go to the calls. Guest call in number. Let me give you all this. I have the 432 area code waiting, and then I'm going to go to whatever other callers that have a question or comment. The guest caller number is 515-605-9327. You can press 1 to speak. If you can't call in, I will take questions in the live chat also. So I will take questions for those that have questions in the live chat, as well as Blog Talk. All right. Let me come to the last article we have here. 1 second. Okay, the last article we have here, just gonna barely touch on it, off healthline.com. Is colloidal copper good for your skin? What is colloidal copper? Colloidal copper is a popular health supplement. It's similar to colloidal silver. So I know a lot of people are familiar with colloidal silver, which is also widely used for wellness and medical purposes. And so here is an image of, you know, a company that has the colloidal copper. All right, like colloidal silver, it's just taking the ions off the copper and putting them in a liquid form where you can get them in your body. Something else people can look into to get the copper. It says to make colloidal copper supplements, microscopic molecules of copper are suspended in purified water. When purchased, it comes in a liquid extract-like form that can be taken orally. It may also be used in other products. According to the companies that sell colloidal copper, it's more digestible than other forms of copper. Supposedly, this makes the health benefits from copper much more effective. So it's basically looking to make the copper in a much more absorbable, usable form. Is there any science behind the health claims? There are many health claims for what colloidal copper can do. So here are some of the claims for colloidal copper. Treat wounds, infections, and burns. Supports cardiovascular health. Prevents osteoporosis. Helps the nervous system function. Acts as an antioxidant that supports human immunity. Stimulates collagen and elastin. Reduces wrinkles, discoloration or discoloration, and age-related skin conditions. Also shows that it's good for skin as a basic nutrient. So basically good for skin health, wrinkles, wound healing, bacterial and fungal infections, for diabetics, chronic ulcers for those who may have those things. Okay, so you also have some companies, some cosmetic companies that put colloidal copper in their products, skin products. All right, again, we've dealt with the toxicity. And again, it says here, copper is typically a safe mineral supplement. This applies to its use in colloidal copper liquid extract form too. Okay, so as long as you're not doing anything crazy dosages, then you don't have to worry about getting too much. All right, so again, something else that we can look into for our copper supplementation, colloidal copper. I believe I've taken colloidal copper before. It's been a while. I can't necessarily say whether or not that it had an effect on my body or not. I can't remember. I would just say that if you have any type of skin irritations from taking copper, you may want to be careful when it comes to copper supplementation, allergies and things like that. But typically, if it's a mineral, then you should be okay. So let's go ahead now over to your questions on copper, health, nutrition, fitness, any of those things. We will take your questions now. I'm going to open up the lines for those who are calling in the blog talk. Let me give the guest calling number here. 515-605-9327. Press 1. Let me go ahead over to the caller I have here. I have the 432 area code. 432 area code, you are live.
Shalom, Elder. This is CJ. How you doing today?
Hey, Shalom, how you doing? I'm doing well.
Okay, I'm coming. I just had a comment and a question regarding what you went over. I'm not sure if you addressed it prior to me logging in. How would we go about getting to see what we're deficient in?
To be able to know like if you're deficient in like a nutrient,
Yes.
that's you would want to go to a doctor and get a blood test, get your blood drawn, get some blood work done,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll look at your blood and they'll be able to see, um, you know, these things in your blood. I would
This
start
is
there.
called like a mineral or deficiency test.
I would just ask them what procedures they have. I would just go to your doctor and say,
Okay.
I wanna check my body to see if I'm deficient in any nutrient, mineral, vitamin, anything like that.
Okay.
And they'll just whatever procedure they have, typically some type of blood test, they'll test it out and be able to tell you.
Okay. And my comment was, I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and he was telling me he drinks out of copper cups because it
Hmm.
also helps re- reduce grays. So I think that was another tidbit of how you can also get copper by still just drinking out of a copper cup, maybe a couple times a week.
I have seen the copper cups. Matter of fact, when I was doing the research for this mineral, I ran across some things out there on the copper cups, the bracelets. Um, Also, you have the silver cups. Some people drink out of silver cups as well. You know, back in the day, we have a well. Before now, we would throw silver dollars into the well. You would throw copper, pennies or whatever the case is into the well to get those ions from those particular metals through the water. So yeah, that's definitely similar to colloidal copper as well, the liquid. So absolutely.
Yeah. But everything that you touched on, Elder, was good, and thank you. A lot.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, and bless you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All right. As of the moment, we don't have any callers in the blog talk queue. If you would like to call in and ask a question, you have about 25 minutes. I'm also going to check out the live chat for any questions there. And then we'll conclude this live stream. Again, the guest caller number is 515-605-9327. So let me take a look here at some of the questions. Somebody asked here in the live chat, how did you say we should take zinc and copper? Well, according to the article here on Healthline, they suggested to take them a couple hours apart. So if you took zinc in the morning, you'd maybe take copper later in the day, so that you're not taking them close together. I had to look more into that because I know there are supplements out there that have zinc and copper together, and so I don't know how it would affect if you're getting a supplement that has both together. All right, but if you take them separately from apart, then you're probably going to be better off. But doesn't mean that if you take them together that it's necessarily the end of the world. But you probably be more adequate doing it spaced out, since zinc has such a big effect on your copper. Typically, that's the reason why when you are eating food that's found in nature, it's found in the proportion in nature for a reason, because that's the way the body is designed to be able to take it up. So if you're eating a food, and you're eating a balanced diet, then typically you're not going to worry as much about, eating certain things at certain times because affects this mineral or that vitamin. It's in nature the way it's supposed to be received. When you start supplementing single supplements, that's when you have to kind of understand, okay, if I'm going to be taking zinc, what else is this going to affect? If I'm going to be taking iron, if I'm going to be taking vitamin C, if I'm going to be taking these other things, is it going to affect another nutrient? All right, in my body or in other supplements that I take. Okay, 708. I see you in the queue. If you have a question, press 1. I don't see your hand raised. Just press 1. I know that you want to speak. All right. And I'll check too, because sometimes Blog Talk doesn't put people in the queue. Let me go ahead over here and just check. 708. Did you have a question or a comment? Or are you just listening? 708 area code, last 4 digits 0365. I can't hear you. Did you want to speak or are you just listening? All right, I'm going to put you back in the queue. If you have a question, press 1. Let me come back over here to the live stream, answer some more questions. Now's the time to ask those questions. Someone says, is purple sea moss good for us? Is purple sea moss good for us? I take purple sea moss. It's one of the sea mosses I take. I get the trifecta. I get the purple. I think it's green and gold. And I mix all three together. Now that typically is a different variety or species of sea moss. And then you have another variety or species that is just gold. So my suggestion would be to get a little bit of all of them. I also, in my sea moss that I make, I also use G.O.C.C flakes, and bladderwrack. So therefore, I'm getting a variety of different sea vegetables when I take them. And then I also take the spirulina and the chlorella. Not necessarily, I usually take spirulina and chlorella on the opposite day of taking sea moss. So I take sea moss every other day, usually first thing when I wake up. And then other days I take the spirulina and chlorella with the green juice. Someone asked, can I post a conversion chart? What do you mean by posting a conversion chart? What type of conversion chart? I'm not sure I understand the question. So maybe if you can elaborate on what you mean by conversion chart. Someone asked, is it better to do HIIT workouts with strength training to lose weight? Yes, from the things that I've learned, HIIT is definitely the way to go. I do HIIT. It's just high intensity interval training. The studies are showing that it's better for losing weight to do about 30 seconds of high intensity, jogging or running, followed by, 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes of walking, and just go back and forth for, 10, 15 minutes. And walking is definitely very good as well. But definitely HIIT is the way to go. It just depends on what you're trying to do. Jogging can be good if you're trying to build your stamina up and you want to be able to run long distances. But as far as like burning fat, HIIT has been shown to burn more fat effectively than jogging or running. Really, walking is better than jogging or running when it comes to burning fat. Because really, when you're running or jogging for a long distance, you're going to end up starting to burn muscle instead of fat. And that's not what you want. You want to keep the muscle. You want to burn the fat. So yes, HIIT, HIIT is how it's the acronym. High intensity interval training. Someone asked, does it have anything to do with Moses breaking down the Moloch statue and grinding it down and mixing it with the water supply? I'm thinking you mean the gold and mixing the gold in the water. It possibly could. I mean, it makes sense. Could be the colloidal gold. Because again, these metals were always known to be healing agents: gold, silver, copper. You have the other minerals which are considered metals too, your iron and whatnot. These were always looked at as for healing. So very highly likely. Let's see, what else do we have here? Someone asked, what is the best way to diet and stay disciplined? That's kind of a question I would probably need more to determine exactly what more specifics on. I guess that's a broad question. The best way is kind of what we've been talking about here on G.O.C.C. Fit: balanced diet, high in vegetables over fruit, because vegetables have high fiber, low sugar. You kind of want to stay away from sugars. If you're going to get sugar, fruit, but you don't want to overdo the fruit, right? Lots of water, lots of cold pressed juices, cold pressed vegetable juice, even cold pressed fruit juices is good. Lean protein, lots of fish, and good healthy fats. So you want a high protein, high fat diet with vegetables is the way to go, in my opinion. Healthy fats you're going to get from your fish. You're going to get the good protein from the fish. It's very lean. So you want lean meat. You don't want the heavy meats. Grass-fed beef is good. 100% grass-fed. No antibiotics. I wouldn't suggest you eat that every day, but maybe you could probably do beef a couple times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, and be okay. If it's grass-fed, very good source of protein. And then you have your herbal teas and things like that to drink. Your green tea, drinking that every day, replacing that. For those that like to drink coffee, replace that with green tea. When you're drinking a lot of coffee, you can run the risk of kidney stones. So the green tea is going to give you the caffeine. It's going to give you the antioxidants, the detoxification. So, and then exercise, just 20, 30 minutes a day or every other day, as long as you're doing something, even if it's just walk a mile, light strength training starting out, very light weights, high reps starting out. You just want to work those muscles and things like that. Work the heart, keep the blood flowing and pumping. That's just a general, to answer your question, just general. Depending on the person, it could change. Let's see. 618. Let me go over to the call lines again. If you would like to call in, 515-605-9327. Press 1. I have a caller here from the 618 area code. 618. You are live.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I have several questions. They're each short questions. So the first question is, I dealt with ulcerative colitis for many years, which is a digestive disorder in which your immune system attacks your colon. So I had been on medication and I'd been off for a while because I was tired of taking medication for the condition where my colon got inflamed and to the point where I had to go to the doctor. And since then, I've been on sulfasalazine, 500 milligrams twice a day. Now, the doctor told me that this is a medication that I will have to take for basically the rest of my life. But I don't want to take medication for this long term. So I would like to find a way for my to detox, but at the same time keep my colon from flaring up. Because basically, this is a autoimmune disease, which your immune system is attacking your colon. So I need to know how to try to start repairing that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it sounds like an autoimmune scenario. Have you sought out a naturopathic doctor?
Uh, yeah and no.
Okay, so
There
kind of,
are capsules. Go ahead.
kind of, sort of, but not really.
Yeah.
I would start there.
So,
I would go to a
okay.
naturopath and tell them, what's going on, what you're taking, and see if there's something natural that they could recommend that you do for the autoimmune scenario there. So it could be some heavy detoxification that needs to happen. It could be some heavy metal toxicity in the body. It could be a thing where the brain is actually being signaled for some reason to react in a way that it shouldn't. So there's some neurological pathways that may need to be reversed, and that could come through some type of detox or dieting, eating the right foods and taking the right herbs. So I would start with a naturopath and see if they have anything in the natural route to go to deal with that. But me personally, I couldn't tell you other than the inflammation. The only thing I could tell you would be you can take proteolytic enzymes for the inflammation to try to help with the inflammation, but the actual root cause, because that would be just treating the symptoms. The root cause, you would actually need somebody that has some experience with dealing with autoimmune on a natural level.
Okay.
Okay.
And another question I have is, what exactly is cold pressed juice?
Cold pressed juice is just juice that's not pasteurized. When you go to the store and you see juice sitting on a shelf, in a warm state, it's just sitting on a shelf. Typically it's pasteurized. I mean, they cooked it so that it could actually be shelf stable. You don't want your juice cooked. You want your juice to be in a refrigerated state where it's cold, because when it's cold pressed, the enzymes that are alive are in the juice. So you want those enzymes, the vitamins, the minerals. Those things are going to be preserved better through the cold process. So it's cold processed. It's in a refrigerator in a cold area of the store, and then it doesn't have anything added to it, no preservatives, none of that. It's just cold pressed, what you would get if you just squeeze the juice out of a vegetable or a fruit.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for the info, Elder.
Okay, well, you're definitely welcome, and we're praying for you
Okay.
with that situation, and may God bless you. All right, Shabbat Shalom.
God bless you. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, we have another caller here. I'm gonna go to the next caller, 919. We got about 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna wrap up, and maybe we'll keep doing these Q&As at the end, now that we don't have any other minerals in that other document that we typically go into. I can do a little bit of Q&A here. So we have the 919 area code, 919. You are live.
Good evening, Shalom, Elder. How are you?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. I'm well. How's it going?
Okay, good. Question. Chloride dioxide. I was listening to your last show, and I think it was that last show or show before last. There was a woman, a doctor, Dr.
Yes.
Lee Merritt.
Yes.
She was speaking on chloride dioxide. I went into her website. She was showing how you mix it and everything else. What do you think about it? I knew you were going to elaborate on that at some point. Are you able to do that now?
I may speak on that next week. I won't speak on that here
Mm-hmm.
because people
Okay.
that use that, and as far as health claims, a lot of people have gotten arrested for speaking on
Mm.
that. So the best thing I could do
Okay.
is tell people to do their research when it comes to that. Seek out these doctors who are out there that have protocols for utilizing that, and more so look to them for uh, those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, I will do that. Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Anything
Understood.
else?
Okay. Yes, there was one. I was the one that was asking about the conversion chart.
Yes.
Um, I take vitamin D3 drops, and
Okay.
it's at 50 micrograms. That's where I have confusion with
Oh.
the micrograms, the milligrams, the grams, and all that kind of thing, and what they equal.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Converting from like one
Yeah.
measurement to another. Well, you can simply just
Correct.
go on
Mhm.
Google and type in whatever you're wanting to convert into what, like MCG to G,
Mhm.
and it'll pull up a kind of like a actual formula where you can put the number in, and it'll convert it for you.
Okay. All right. Because the 50 micrograms is just a drop, and I guess I just didn't think that was enough, you know. But I guess is that like small molecules or whatever? Is that really tiny or something? But it's still powerful or still effective?
Well, microgram is definitely a lot smaller than a gram, but it depends on what in particular you're talking about. So, for one thing, microgram could be enough, but for something else, it could be
Mhm.
like that's just not enough. So it depends on what exactly. Like for instance, you have micro minerals and you have macro minerals. Macro minerals
Oh, that's
typically
right.
you need more volume or more uh, grams for, whereas micro, which are more so trace minerals, you don't need as many um, grams, so they may be more of a microgram dosage. You see, so it depends on what it
Mhm.
is we're talking about when it comes to the specific measurement.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome. Bless you. Shabbat
Water.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, I may have time for one more question on Blog Talk. If someone calls in, 515-605-9327, press 1. I'll keep going with the questions here in the live chat. Someone asked, what is a good zinc brand? I take Solar Ray. That's the zinc brand I use, but you have good brands out there. Now Foods. These are just the ones that come to my mind. But what you can do is you can go to any place that sells supplements, look at the reviews for that particular supplement. Try to look at different, compare different reviews out there for that company or that supplement. Maybe look and see what they're sourced, and that's going to give you a good insight when you look at the reviews. And don't get caught up on just one review. Don't let one review be the all to end all, whether good or bad. Look at the consensus of the review. So typically, I'm looking the higher. Usually, it's 5 stars is the highest. So I'm looking as close to 5 stars I can get. Typically, you're going to have a majority of people in the uh, 5 and 4 star range of rating. So if you can get like 70 and above at 5 star, and 10% and above on 4 star, that's typically what I look at when I'm looking at that particular product and that particular company. Because there are a lot of good brands out there, but I'm just telling you, some of the ones that I've taken, Solar Ray, Now Foods, are some of the ones that come to mind that I take, but I have others that I use too. So, um, someone asked, and I'm sorry, I mean I can't get to all the questions. So if I miss you, it's not on purpose. I'm just trying to keep up with all the questions. Someone asked, "What is my take on the keto diet?" Um, I have not necessarily done the keto diet myself to be able to give my own personal experience. I would say that just the science behind it, I feel is very good because you're talking about healthy fats. Okay, so when you talk about high fat diet, you're not talking about any type of fat because all fats are not created equal. So it has to be the right type of fats. Omega 3, you want a high level of omega 3s. High in protein, okay? Because in order to build muscle, which is the type of weight that you mainly want to have as muscle mass, okay, low fat, high muscle. So you have to have the protein to be able to do that. Low carbs, because carbs, we're going to go into some conversations about macronutrients, which is going to be like your carbs, fats, and protein. Which you typically in anything typically want to have low carb. Your starches, your sugar, your simple sugars. You want to be low on those things because starch, when it's not burned as a carb, it's converted into a sugar. And sugar, when it's not burned, is converted into fat. So in theory, the keto, you're looking to use the fat calories for energy. You have 9 calories per gram of fat. You have 4 calories per gram of carb and protein. Okay. So in theory, you usually get your energy from carbs. Well, if you're cutting the carbs down, where are you going to get your energy from? Well, that's where the fats come in. So now you're burning fat for your energy, and then the protein is there to help build back what needs to be built when you're talking about muscle mass. Okay. And then by not having the carbs, you're now not going to store fat. All right. Because the carbs aren't, in the body to convert into fat. So you're going to be more lean. So like I said, in theory, keto is definitely a good theoretical diet. I always suggest people, I may not call it keto. I always suggest high protein, high fat, low carb diet anyway. And then it's said if you go into ketosis, once you've been on this diet for a time, ketosis then allows you to tap into autophagy. We've been talking about autophagy on our Coming Out of Babylon broadcast. Autophagy also can be activated when you fast. And autophagy is the body's natural way of going in and breaking down cells in the body that are damaged, that can cause you to be sick or have fatigue. It breaks those cells down. It breaks down junk in the body, waste in the body, and it helps to internally flush it out. It's almost like a detox type of way. So ketosis through the keto diet is said to also tap into the autophagy that you would also be able to do through fasting. Okay. So I would definitely say that, it's right on line with what I would tell somebody to focus on in their diet. There's lots of protein, lots of healthy fat, and low carbs. So I'm going to take one more call and then we're going to conclude. Sorry if I couldn't get to all your messages and comments here or questions in the live chat. And we'll do it again. We'll do some more Q&A. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. Let me go over to the 336 area code on Blog Talk. 336, you're live.
Shabbat Shalom, Elder.
Shabbat Shalom. Who am I speaking to?
My name is Tasha.
Okay. I thought your voice sounded familiar. I'm not sure if I've heard your voice before, but what you got for us?
Okay. I have 2 questions. One on topic, what's the best thing for inflammation?
The best thing for inflammation, well, the first thing is you have to figure out why the inflammation is happening. So you have to get to the root. And that may take a doctor to figure out what is the root cause of inflammation. So that's kind of a broad question. I mean, you could go exercise and you're going to deal with some level of inflammation in muscles are being broken down. Your bones may get inflamed from the exercise. So that's the root cause. That's not necessarily a bad thing. What you can do for inflammation is proteolytic enzymes. All right, proteolytic enzymes. They're food. They're food enzymes. They're natural. You take them on an empty stomach. You don't take them with food, and they're going to go in the body. They're going to find the inflammation, and inflammation is proteins. It's going to break those proteins down. However,
Okay.
if there's a root cause of inflammation, you have to figure out what that root cause is, or the inflammation isn't going to stop. So you don't want to just treat the inflammation. The symptoms of it. You want to get rid of the inflammation, whatever's causing it, if it's not something normal like exercise, where your muscles are sore or dealing with some swelling from exercise.
Okay. All right. And my second question is, a while back I heard a broadcast. I fell asleep and I don't really recall the information in its entirety. But you were saying if we had anything like game ideas, stuff for coloring books and stuff, to reach out to you. Is that correct?
Game ideas. What do you mean by game ideas?
Like board games, coloring books, stuff like that.
Okay, so you're wanting to do this for like a children's ministry or something, or just for like,
Yeah, for the body.
are you currently baptized, gathering locally?
Yes, with the
Okay,
North Carolina body.
okay, in North Carolina. So what you can do is, I would run those by your local leaders there,
Okay.
and I believe you got what, Elder Al in North Carolina,
Yes.
as well as elder lawyers over the South, and they can look at. You have ideas, so you're talking about like board games or something like that.
Yes.
So, have you looked into like actually developing those games, like actually putting them like together and to where like it's cards? You've already looked into like, okay, I can get the card distribution here, or the actual board game, and have you looked into any of those logistics?
No, not yet.
Okay, so run it
So
by
I would
them.
start there first.
Well, yeah, you can run the ideas by them. Make sure that they approve, because it doesn't make any sense to go ahead and do all
Okay.
that if they like, no, I don't, that something about that isn't right. But if they like, okay, that sounds like a good idea, then the next step would be going into, okay, getting with people that maybe also have skills or talents, drawing or whatever the case is. When it comes to now, you have to produce the actual product for that idea, and then you have to go into the actual logistics of production now. You see,
Okay.
to get that all done, if depending on what all goes into that particular game. So I mean, some games don't require
Hmm.
anything but people, like charades. You don't need anything for that. You just need people, right? So depending on what all is needed that goes into that, you would have to look into getting those things, and how you would be able to get it, in a efficient and financially affordable way.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Salada.
All right. You're welcome. Bless you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay. So that is going to conclude.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
That is going to conclude our live stream tonight and for today, all things copper. I pray this information has been edifying and blessed to all of you who have been here. I appreciate your participation for this live stream. We will look to do some more Q&A. So if I missed your questions, I didn't get to them all, just write them down. And next time you can call in or type them in the chat. I'll try to get those answered and help you all out. And again, when talking about health, it's a building process. You're not going to ever get to a place to where you know everything about it. It's everyday learning, building on it, getting better. I mean, I've been studying, sports nutrition almost, going on 30 years now. I've been studying, herbal nutrition almost 25. And every day I'm learning more and more. It's like, wow, you just learn more and more every day. So it can be overwhelming. Just start with the simple stuff, the basics, and just build. Okay, and get in a good place of just understanding your body and what you need for you to be able to function effectively. So until our next broadcast here for GOCC Fit, I pray everyone to have continued health in their bodies and Godspeed.